Do you have anything juicy that you feel like discussing?
What if we discuss why we want to do a book group of women who run with the wolves?
Okay, that sounds good. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, monthly
And
group on my favorite book of all time,
which is,
which is Women Who Run with the Wolves.
and you are the one who got me to read it that
Oh,
day when we were
was
sitting.
I?
Yeah, it was you, because when we were, I just remember we were sitting on the floor in your little Waldorf classroom and we were having a meeting and you said something about it. And I was like, I had seen the title of that book,
Mhm.
so many times. And I seriously thought it was just some like cheesy self-help book. And I was like, "Oh,
No.
no, that's not what I'm going to do." But then the way that you talked about it that day, I was like, holy,
Mm.
I gotta check this out. But oh, one thing I do remember is that you saying that it's like your Bible.
That's often what I say to people. I'm like, Women Who Run with the Wolves is my spiritual doctrine, kind of. Yeah. And that's what it is. It's the collection of these fairy tales that work specifically with all the dimensions of this life, death, life cycle. And as women, we are the carriers of.
How it will morph and change.
And we have to allow it.
And we have to allow our
If we don't
relation.
allow those processes, then we're stuck and we crystallize, and that's when things shatter.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, but we can participate in it as a joyful process.
But if we resist the death moment, if we resist that,
New life cannot come in.
there's nothing new for us.
Yeah.
And that's the creative force of the feminine, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
that's life essence, which is what we carry.
yeah.
Yeah. Creative flow, it's eroticism, it's creativity, it's power and intent. It's all the things that make life yummy.
Yeah. And I want to be clear that when I'm talking about the feminine, I'm not talking necessarily about just women, because the feminine is held within
I was just
everything.
going to say that this isn't a gender specific, because we actually always carry the feminine and masculine within us. And it's really about union and balance. But this feminine aspect has been oppressed and repressed for centuries. And there needs to be some reclaiming of that. Of honoring those specific aspects of life.
Honoring, I love that. Honoring those specific aspects of life, the feminine aspects of life. And receiving
and listening.
Listening, so the next step, right? She talks about that.
I mean, it's really aligning with your intuition, learning how to hear that inner voice that is your authenticity. That, it's that true compass that isn't shaped by the expectations and the messages and the assumptions of the culture and the world around you, but it's really like, what feels good, what feeds me, what nourishes me, what as an individual self do I need in this moment.
Like, as you're reading this, I almost felt like I was transported back to the seed of like something so ancient. you know, something that has lived in me before I even got here, you know, like it's just been present. It's just so old and
Well,
wise.
and it resonates. You can feel it, like the harmonics work in your body. And that's what fairy tales do. That's why we use them with children is, you know, in a fairy tale, you're taking in the story and the images, and in an unconscious way, it's working on you. And he chooses really addresses um, aspects of the wild woman living in a culture that does not recognize it.
Yeah. That, yes,
Yeah.
that's one of the seeds.
Yeah.
Right. That's one of the seeds. And that's part of the place that like I felt that it was like I could hear my great, 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 great grandmother. Like I could feel her, you know, while I was reading this, because it was like, you, my great, great, like my matriarchal line from way back, like you held this wild woman. You were connected to the messages of the earth and the seasons and nature and the animals. Like this lived, what I'm reading right here lived in you every day. Yeah.
So yeah,
But
it's the favorite book, and I love going through it bit by bit with a group of women and seeing what comes up from all of us, you know, what lives in the group and what lives in the individual, and just hearing everyone's stories of how it relates to their lives and go through it. That is beautiful. And also I think it can also bring a lot of healing to our relationships with our mother lineage, um, and just cultivating understanding, like maybe we can't heal those relationships because they've passed, or just in this physical manifestation doesn't seem like it's quite possible yet. Because there are so many myths about motherhood, and that there's this, like the sweetness that we just tolerate everything and we just give and we're martyrs, and she really brings up that, you know, that wolf mother of like, no, we're like, there are times when we have to be ferocious and we have to be angry and we have to rip things apart with our teeth. And I was like, oh, discernment, because it's not all about being ferocious and angry and just tearing things apart for the sake of tearing them apart, which is something we can do when we've been repressed for a long time. It just explodes. But like this wolf mother, this wild mother, is, you know, it's discerning, it's attacking what needs to go. What is causing harm to life. It's, yeah, and it's very, so it's very different. So that too is like, you know, she calls us to ignite our, I often refer to this like fierce, fiery senses. She used.
That's where that's that point where she's, you know, one of the points that she talks about, right, is like where you start to die inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't remember which story that is, but like where you end up as an empty shell of who you are. Because you keep ignoring those places and you keep pushing those boundaries out.
Yeah.
And you keep not listening to that call in your soul. Well, you're never going to be liked and accepted because as a woman, you're fucked either way.
You're just fucked, so just go for it.
Yeah.
It's for all of our parts, and seeing that they're all necessary. There are times when they will be useful and they will serve us.
Yeah. And that truth, you know, following that truth. And that's where the slowing down comes in, right? Because something percolates, something arises in us, and we begin to question or wonder or feel, And in order for that discerning piece that you're talking about, there has to be some space to like feel or to contemplate or to like, I mean, I guess maybe not always, because she talks about instinct too. And sometimes it's just like, boom.
Yeah, but that boom happens because we've trained ourselves to listen and to feel. And feel not in that way of feelings and emotions, but in an embodied sense where we're in tune with our body responses. Yeah. So we have ways that our body is communicating to us all the time. Yeah.
So this is what we want to do together.
Yeah. Others, group of people that want to explore and dive in and talk about all of these juicy topics and painful topics and grieving topics together and see what magic comes out of it.